Hi everyone, I'm Ben, and this is the Board Game Blueprint. This week we're going to follow up even more with our whole graphic design sort of series that we have going on and discuss boxes. We're going to start off with the outside of the box, including relevant game information and considering a couple of different things that you can do on the side of the box as well to make sure that all the proper information or necessary information is present, as well as take a little peek inside and talk about some cool things that you can do as a designer for your future consumers. So let's jump to the table next door, take a look at some established games, and then go over what they do great and maybe what they could potentially include to be even better. One of the most important things that you can put on your game box is the name of the game so people know what to call it. As you can see, based on hierarchy principles from the previous videos, we have the name in the largest and thickest or boldest font. We also have the designer name up top, and then down here, it's getting a little cut off, is going to be the game information, number of players, game time, and appropriate ages. The order of these bottom three don't really matter so much, but I'm going to show a couple examples of a different order and different iconography that you can use to get your game a little bit even more thematic. Then you'll also want to feature some awesome game art. This is a prototype, so not totally finished, but you might imagine something that you could have a professional artist do up and really wow the person who picks it up for the first time. Now, of course, the front of the box has usually a back of the box, and here's where you can set the stage even more. You can offer a description, an image of the setup, kind of how the player is going to play, and this really helps potential retailers and, well, you when you're pitching your game in the future to be able to demonstrate what you'll be doing on your turns and such. The sides of the box can have the information as well in case the game were to be stacked vertically on a game shelf. And you can also consider putting the contents of the game. I have them here on the bottom of the box when looking at it straight up like this, because I didn't have enough room on the back, but it's also really nice to have it maybe in the corner to then be able to point and refer to what each of the components are. There's a lot to like about King of Tokyo, and one of those things is the box. As you can see here, and I think this is really great for their brand, is that they've gone and put the player information on the top left corner, and then of course their own logo in the bottom right. Just about every box that they've released has this sort of order, and it makes it really easy for someone who picks up the box to know exactly right away what information or what they can expect from the game. Now, the title is kind of here in the top right corner, which is totally fine, but you might notice that it's pretty close to the edge, and I would just kind of caution you from a graphic design standpoint to make sure that there's a little bit of breathing room there. We call it white space, we as in the industry, we as in design professionals, but that just might be something, a little thing to consider as well. I think their second release, or however many prints they've gone, actually has the logo now in the middle. Maybe for that reason, maybe not, but again, just something to note. Now, you may have heard it shaking around a little bit, so let's open up and see what's inside. We have a little rule book, great, yep, and we have looks like some sand timers for the game, but all these bits and parts are loose, which is kind of a gamer's nightmare when it comes to making sure that everything stays in its place, right? If we didn't have these packed in so nicely, then we could have had cards all over the place and just all mixed up, kind of gross and nasty. Some of these meeples could have been caught in the corners and such like that. So what you can do maybe as a designer and really help out your future, again, consumers or playtesters, is to create an insert. Just kidding, I don't have one ready for this game yet, but we can go ahead and show an example of one or two that do it really well. Sushi Go is a pretty popular game for me, and I really like it because, well, it's in a metal tin, which is nice and durable, but also it's a very simple game, as I mentioned before, with very few components. So if we open up the thing inside, we have the rule book, but we can see we have these plastic wells and a plastic thermoformed insert to put the cards into so that they don't slide around. Now, if you do go upside down, things might shuffle around a little bit, but the idea here is, again, that you can just simply take out most of the deck. I think that might be one or two cards left over, and then you can start playing. So the way that kind of the insert works And they got a little bit of branding in there as well, which is very nice. Is that, well, again, it's a little plastic tray essentially that has spots for the components in your game. Let's see if I can take it out really quick. Maybe not. There we go. And so, yep, there's just the metal tin. Whoops. I threw in a couple of the extra things inside of it because they're not totally necessary to the game. But as you can see kind of from down below, the idea is that you have a plastic sheet and you have maybe like a piece of wood or some kind of deck, foam maybe. And when you press down on the plastic as it's heated, then you'll kind of create this well, again, for all of your good game bits. Now, if you don't have access to a fancy thermoformer, you might just go ahead and make one yourself. So let's go ahead and open up these rules here, and you can see that there is a cardboard insert, which is pretty darn easy to make. Let's go ahead and empty this out. Again, bags for your loose meeple bits, but here we go. It's just a simple sheet of chipboard or cardboard. You could even use a cereal box like I always do. And this way you have a nice stable well for your cards and components. Really great for on-the-go kind of stuff. And it, again, makes sure that things aren't flying around everywhere. This is Zombicide Green Horde. And let's take a look inside because I think it has a really awesome, cool thing as well for its components. Oops, excuse me. There's the rule book here. Yes, very good. And we have in here another box inside a box. So you know that all the components inside are going to be super stable. All right. Slide that out of the way. Let's open it up. One of my favorite kinds of boxes. It's got the extra security tabs on the side, but when we look inside, holy cow, we have more thermoformed pieces, again, for their miniatures, which are kind of custom made, pretty nice so that everything has its own spots, as well as for the cards and player boards as well. Personal thing is that these wells could be maybe a little bit deeper for all the other cards inside. I think there had to be like some kind of split or whatever. But again, you can simply make your own without plastic by using chipboard or foam core, which I've seen a lot of friends do for their own sorts of things. You can also order for published games that you own custom inserts that are laser cut and things like that from places like Meeple Source and Meeple Realty, Broken Token as well. So those are possibilities. I'm not sure if they do custom work though. If you were looking to do something like that, you could maybe find somebody in an online community like Ponoko or maybe Shapeways. I'm not sure if they do laser cut. I think they do laser cut files. So the possibilities are really quite endless. Find somebody on Etsy as well. Again, inserts for a box are kind of later term stuff. You want to make sure that your game is actually fun and playable before you necessarily worry about those things. But if you're carting it around to a lot of different places, making a game portable and ensuring that the contents aren't jostling around so much could be a pretty neat thing to do for yourself. I hope this video gave you a couple gems to think about when you're putting together your first box. Although you shouldn't necessarily compare a fully finished one to the prototype box that you have going on. Either way, it's still great to learn from these that have already been out and have been bought for a reason. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date on future content like this. As always, I'm Ben. This has been another episode of the Board Game Blueprint, and together, let's build something great.